Try to remember your first birthday. Try harder. You can't. Not really. You might have a photo. You might have a story someone told you 100 times until it felt like memory. But the real answer is far stranger than simply forgetting. You weren't forgetting. You were never recording in the first place. Somewhere between the ages of 2 and 4, a curtain falls. Everyone has one. It's called infantile amnesia, and it isn't a flaw in your brain. It's a feature. Your earliest years vanish almost completely, and for over a century, scientists assumed this was just memory, failing on a young, undeveloped mind. They were wrong. Babies remember things. They remember faces. They remember routines. They remember the sound of a parent's voice well enough to turn toward it across a room. So if babies can remember, why can't you remember being one? The answer lives in a small, curled structure deep in your brain called the hippocampus. Think of it as your brain's filing system. It doesn't just store memories. It stitches them into a timeline, tagging each one with a sense of where you were, when it happened, and how it connected to everything else you know. In infancy, that filing system is still under construction. Neuroscientist Paul Franklin, working at the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto, ran a series of experiments on infant mice that reshaped how researchers think about this curtain. His team found that the infant brain is producing new neurons in the hippocampus at an explosive rate. That sounds like a good thing. More neurons, more memory, right? Almost the opposite. This rapid neuron growth, called neurogenesis, actually disrupts the neural circuits that are trying to hold early memories in place. Picture a library where new shelves are being violently rearranged every single night. Books get stored. Then the shelving system changes completely before anyone can find them again. The memories from your infancy weren't lost. They were built on architecture that kept getting torn down and rebuilt before it could stabilize. There's something else going on too. And it's not just biology. It's language. Psychologist Robin Fivish at Emory University has spent decades studying how children form autobiographical memory, the kind of memory that includes a sense of, "This happened to me." Her research points to something remarkable. Memory, real, narrative memory, doesn't just need a functioning hippocampus. It needs a structure to hold itself together. And one of the most powerful structures available is language. A toddler without the words for yesterday, or before that, or when I was scared, has no scaffolding to hang an experience on. The event happens. It registers somewhere in the body, in emotion, in instinct. But it cannot yet be turned into a story. And a story is what memory actually is. This is why the moment children begin acquiring complex language, around 2 to 3 years old, is roughly the same moment their earliest lasting memories begin to take shape. Memory and language are not separate systems quietly developing side by side. They are intertwined. One builds the container, the other fills it. Here's where it gets strange. Even after the curtain lifts, after language arrives, after the hippocampus matures, your earliest memories are still not reliable. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus, one of the most influential memory researchers of the last 50 years, demonstrated something unsettling through decades of experiments. Memories can be implanted. Not vague impressions, vivid, detailed, false memories that the person is certain actually happened to them. In her studies, participants were convinced they remembered being lost in a shopping mall as a child, an event that never occurred. They described the layout of the mall, the panic, a kind stranger who helped them. None of it was real. All of it felt real. This is the uncomfortable truth sitting underneath every earliest memory you think you have. Many of them aren't memories at all. They're reconstructions, built from photographs, family stories repeated at dinner tables, and your brain's relentless need to make a coherent narrative out of fragments. You didn't lie to yourself. Your brain just did what brains do. It filled in the gaps and called the result truth. So why would evolution design a system this unreliable? Wouldn't it make more sense to remember everything? Not necessarily. A brain that stored every sensory detail from infancy onward would be drowning in noise by adulthood. Forgetting isn't a failure of the system. It is the system working correctly. Anthropologists studying memory across cultures have found that what gets remembered and what gets erased is shaped by what a brain actually needs in order to function in the world it's about to enter. An infant brain doesn't need a timeline. It needs to learn how to see, how to move, how to attach to the people keeping it alive. Memory, in the narrative sense, is a luxury that comes later, once survival basics are handled. There's a deeper layer here too, one that connects directly to who you are right now. Every time you remember something, even an event from last week, your brain isn't pulling up a stored file like a video clip. It's reconstructing the event, piece by piece, influenced by your current mood, your current beliefs, even by the fact that you've remembered it before. Each act of remembering subtly rewrites the memory. This is true of your earliest years. It's also true of yesterday. Which means the version of your 5th birthday party you carry around isn't a recording. It's the 100th draft of a story you've been unconsciously editing since the moment it happened. This changes how you should think about your own past. The blank space before age 3 or 4 isn't a void where something was lost. It's the period when you were becoming a person capable of holding a story at all. Your earliest sense of I wasn't ready yet. The narrator hadn't been built, and maybe that's not something to mourn. Maybe it's something closer to mercy. You arrived in the world raw, overwhelmed, absorbing everything without the architecture to make sense of any of it. The forgetting protected you from carrying every confusing, overstimulating moment of those first years forward into adulthood. By the time your hippocampus matured, by the time language gave you a container, you were ready to start building the story that would become you. So tonight, when you try once more to remember your first birthday, and you still come up empty, know that the emptiness isn't a gap in your mind. It's proof that your mind once had a different job to do before it ever needed a memory to keep.